Hey, thanks so much for watching. We're starting this trip in Cairo, Egypt. We spent a few weeks in Europe, and since it was right down the way, we took a plane from Europe to Cairo and spent a week of our time there, and then most of our time in Luxor, Egypt. Cairo is very busy. It's a huge city with so many people. The driving made me a little nervous. Everyone drives pretty wild out there, but it's to be expected in that kind of city. I will say when we first heard the prayer and worship that they do citywide, it made me a little nervous because it was something I heard for the first time, and it was at 4 o'clock in the morning their time, so it scared me a bit. And also we were just by the pyramids, and you can just feel the frequency shift when you get there. So that combined really made me get a little anxiety. But after a few more hours of hearing it, we were completely used to it, and I began to see the beauty of how devoted they were to their religion. So the highlights of our trip in Cairo were visiting the pyramids, one of the seven wonders of the world. Of course, we had to see it while we were there. And we hired this tour guide who was an Egyptologist. I made sure he had plenty of reviews. It made me feel even better that his career was on the line. So I knew it was someone I can trust. And I just mostly go off of, the real reviews that people have. They loved his knowledge, how comfortable they felt with him, how helpful and generous he was. And so he really helped us navigate the attractions very well. And whenever we met someone that we could really trust and we became friends with, I locked him in. We really locked him in to help us with other things because they offered it. So he would help us get groceries. He would help us if we had any questions about where we could go. He also helped to bring us to the Great Mall there, which was beautiful. It had Christmas decorations because we were there during the winter. In both Cairo and Luxor, my kids had such an enriching educational experience. I really, truly think that you can learn so much more traveling to these countries than you do in school, because I personally learned so much about their history, their lifestyles, especially the language, their outlooks on life, what foods are farmed there and distributed, even the politics there, just simply by talking to the people there. And it really stuck to me. And it's just a great immersive experience. The guides were so friendly to my son and all the questions that he had. He learned how to make paper, the first paper of the world from the papyrus plant. They showed him how to do it, and I thought that was a great experience. We did that workshop at an art museum that our guide suggested to us, which was no additional charge to go check it out. He also took us to see how they made perfumes. I just really can't imagine doing this experience without someone who's knowledgeable and has the background to talk about these things. It definitely made it more convenient and comfortable for me. He also took us to see the Sphinx. And this was an all-in-one package that you can find on Airbnb and the experiences. And the host at our Airbnb actually helped us get to and from the airport. So everyone is just so helpful and friendly. And something I do want to bring up is a lot of people like to say that there are scammers out there, but that's not the picture that should be painted. These are people that are just hustling and trying to sell their products. They can be a little pushy, I will say that. But if you tell them no and you're polite about it and you're stern about it, they will get the message. But the guides were so helpful on telling me on how to navigate these people and what areas to avoid. And it's just so helpful to make friends, local friends, wherever you travel. And so after about a week or so there, we spent the rest of the month in a beautiful Airbnb on a farm in Luxor.
Say hi, Buzz. Bye bye, Buzz.
So, hands down, I can tell you that Luxor was my favorite part of the trip. I highly recommend going there. It is much more peaceful, so wholesome, such a family style environment. Another place I can recommend is Aswan. It's beautiful. It has the clear blue waters, a few other pyramids and temples. We didn't get a chance to go there, but it's close by. And every sunrise, the balloons launched, so we would see them from our rooftop or if we were driving to one of our destinations. So Luxor is really the place where you'll see most history and see the real way of Egypt living. That's what our guide said that we had there. The west part of the Nile is where all the temples and tombs are, and the east part of the Nile is where the farms were and just the real lifestyle of Egypt happens. We didn't get a chance to visit all of the tombs and temples, but we did see the bigger ones that were definitely worth not missing. One being the Valley of the Kings. To this day, they are still discovering different chambers and tomb entrances that they're currently excavating. In addition to the many tombs that they already have there, they have different packages when you go. You get to pick which of the tombs you want to see, or if you want to see all of them. There's a lot of walking involved, so I would definitely wear good shoes and make sure you're comfortable walking around in the heat. We did go closer to sunrise, so we tried to go during the cooler part of the day, and it was just so beautiful seeing the hieroglyphs and speaking to our Egyptologist that helped us there. He went over the roles of the gods and goddesses, their stories, and it was just a beautiful experience. I highly recommend Valley of the Kings. I do want to mention that I never intended for this to be a vlog, so a lot of my content that I did take there, I deleted from my phone and sent it to my email so that I can have more space on my phone. So there's just so much that I wish I still had to share in this vlog, like how the valley looked, which tombs I visited, the names of all of them. I will say some of the things that did stand out while we were walking through the tombs were the stories of what the Egyptians believed to happen after death. They thought death was so important and that there was so much ritual around it and preparation for how you're going to travel after you pass over, and how they weigh your heart on the scale against the feather to determine your judgment. And a lot of the tombs also that I found interesting had a lot of booby traps for people that came to rob the tombs, which a lot of them were robbed. Surprisingly, you will not find any mummies. You may find one, correct me if I'm wrong, but you will not find most all of them, as well as a lot of the artifacts, because these tombs have been robbed. So those were just some interesting facts that stood out. Other than that, I hope you do just enjoy the content that I do still have here. So on another day, we saw the temples of Egypt, the first one being Queen Hatshepsut's temple, the first solo female ruler of Egypt. There were many female rulers, but they were with their kings. She actually disguised herself as a man, and that's how she gained her position. Sadly, I've already deleted a lot of this media from my phone, so this is all I have. The other temple we visited was Luxor Temple, the smaller of the temples there, but it was still amazing. Last but not least, one of my favorite experiences was visiting Karnak Temple, the second largest temple in the world, the temple of Amun-Ra, the sun god, and just being there right at sunrise was amazing. It is such a massive complex, and if you get there at sunrise, you will see the sun just rising through right in the center there through those corridors. It has chapels, pylons, and so many other archaeological and history there. I highly recommend Karnak Temple. It may take you a full day. So they also have a scheduled light show there. Definitely look into it. It didn't have the greatest reviews, so we thought it would be okay to skip it this time around. But research and reviews, they helped us so much. Our Airbnb host in Luxor was super helpful, helped us with airport transportation. We hired him for tours for the temples and tombs, and he helped us get groceries. His sister made bread that they brought over all the time, which they bake in the sun. It was so delicious. We used it for a lot of our dinners. They sold us eggs whenever we needed it. They offered us clean water, but luckily I had my alkaline machine. Became really good friends with their family, so my son became best friends with newbies and newbies' kids. They played almost every day. He met a lot of the other kids as well, and they came over to our Airbnb a lot of the times to hang out. It was just such a wholesome, family-oriented experience. So for Christmas, I wanted to do something really special for the kids, since I know that they wouldn't be as excited to get some artifacts from Egypt as like a Christmas present. Although they did take some souvenirs of their choice home. I found this really amazing hotel, resort, Jolieville. There were kittens everywhere. It was adorable. And they have excursions to purchase for the Nile River, where they had a water park for the kids. We were able to stay in a beautiful room, a more luxurious room compared to the farm home that we stayed in. It was still very nice, but this resort was just a little fancier, and I thought it would be perfect for Christmas. I recommend booking experiences through Airbnb because of the reviews alone. They're able to tell you so much. Another experience we booked through Airbnb was having breakfast on a traditional Egyptian farm, a traditional breakfast, so we were able to try the honeys and jams and the bread that were all made there, some of the produce, and it was pretty massive. They also owned hot air balloons, which they flew also every day, and so it had a lot of acres. They had purebred Arabian horses, cows, camels, and the kids there were awesome. My son made really good friends with them. He's really good at making close friends with other kids, and so he became really close with them and was able to play with them while I was exploring the farm. He was able to hang out with them and have them walk with us. So another huge culture shock there is all around town, they had young kids about this size, even smaller, riding these fast purebred Arabian horses on their own. So they would be standing on the little paddy wagon that is behind the horses while the horses just sprinting, and it was just so surreal to see that on the streets of Egypt. My daughter is so brave. She so willingly got on the horse to ride it. They wanted me to try the horse as well. I had a photo of me on it, but what they did was that guy pulling the horse started running with me on it with no harness, and my legs were literally sore the next day from trying to hold on tight to that horse. It was a scary experience, but I survived. Definitely try the Egyptian breakfast on a farm. Overall, this was such an amazing experience that I'm so grateful for. I really love the people there, the land, the experiences. Thank you for watching.